My name is Griffin Johnson, and my presentation is on how to utilize your own creativity from the perspective of an Imagineer. This is based on the documentary The Imagineering Story on Disney Plus and was directed by Leslie Iwerks. Imagineer was first coined by Walt Disney and it combines the terms imagination and engineer. Walt's goal for Imagineers was to create the best quality of creative content that resonated with everybody. Imagineers use a variety of ways to utilize their own creativity, and throughout the presentation, I would encourage you to think of how you can use these tactics in your own creative engineering pursuits. The first way they use is they understand the underlying meaning or theme. Joe Rowe was the creative lead for Pandora, the world of Avatar. It was not necessarily excited about being assigned to design the land, but he felt it necessary to find what it was about Avatar that was interesting and important. He concluded that Avatar was about the intrinsic value of nature and a personal call to action for preserving nature, and Pandora tells that message through its distinct beauty and immersive details. In the top left is a Navi animatronic. In the bottom left is bioluminescence that are used to light up the land at night. In the top right are floating mountains that are held together through steel beams that are designed as vines. In the bottom right is Flight of Passage, which makes you feel like you're riding on the back of a banshee. Imagineer Tony Baxter said it best. He said, "I don't design something for the first ride. I design it for the 20th. Joe Rowe made you want to come back to this land, and it also makes you want to have a personal call to action to preserve Pandora, which is a metaphor for Earth itself." The second way is they draw inspiration from the outside world. Kevin Rafferty's love for cars led to the creation of Cars Land, Disneyland, California. Joe Rowe's love for animals and bugs led to the creation of Animal Kingdom at Disney World. The ride Soarin' was inspired by the landscape of California. And another way is biomimicry, the design and production of material structures and systems that are modeled on biological entities and processes. In the top left is Cars Land, in the bottom left is Soarin', in the bottom right is the Tree of Life located in Animal Kingdom. In the top right is a picture of a beaver. Well, engineers at MIT create a rubbery fur-like pelts that they say can make bio-inspired materials such as wetsuits for surfers. And beavers have a thick layer of blubber that helps keep them warm while they're diving and swimming in their water environment. So these wetsuits were inspired by beavers, and this is a perfect example of biomimicry. The third way is the importance of preparation and planning. Bob Gurr designed the Matterhorn at Disneyland and taught himself trigonometry to make the ride more efficient. Gurr went out of his comfort zone to create the first tubular roller coaster in the world. While designing Cars Land, the model showed that park visitors could see power lines in the backgrounds, and Imagineers had to rework the area to block out the view of the power lines from wherever a park visitor could stand in the land. During the creation of Splash Mountain, Imagineers recycled log vehicles for the ride, and while testing the ride, the design of the recycled log vehicle allowed for water to fill inside the vehicle, and they had to redesign a new vehicle. On the left is the blueprint for the Matterhorn. Top right is the original model where you can see the power lines. They later raised the rock surfaces to where you cannot see the power lines from any point in Cars Land. In the bottom right is the newly designed log vehicle for Splash Mountain. So how can we utilize our own creativity? Well, creativity is subjective to each individual person. You need to put yourself in uncomfortable situations that require you to think outside the box, just as Bob Gurr put himself in an uncomfortable situation where he didn't know trigonometry and how to design a ride. Failure is inevitable, but don't let failure affect your motives. Failure is always bound to happen, so let yourself take over and know your motives. Pay attention to details while not forgetting the bigger picture. Look up and not down. One thing when I talk about this is I always look at my phone and I never put it down to look at outside around me. So put your phone down for once. Collaboration is just as important as individual settings. Treat every project like it is a prototype, and hence find ways to grow and make the project better. And the last thing is listen. Listen to what anyone tells you. Listen to what your professors, podcasts, anyone tells you, because it may help you utilize your own creativity. There are an endless number of possible creative pursuits as long as we ask ourselves the question, what if? And I encourage you to ask yourself, what if, and you will find how to utilize your own creativity. And to close it out, Bob Iger said it best, there's no substitute for good creative content. Thank you for listening.